Okay, the May 4th, 2016 meeting of the Thousand Oaks Council on Aging is now being called to order. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Francine, will you please call the roll?
Please say here present when I call your name. Commissioner Allen.
Here.
Chair Fotheringham.
Here.
Commissioner Gett.
Present.
Commissioner Gorbach. Here. Commissioner Healey.
Here.
Vice Chair Healey.
Here.
Commissioner Norkin.
Here.
Commissioner O'Connor.
Present.
And Commissioner Shantez.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, it's now time for public comments. A speaker card looking like this is available in the back for those wishing to address the Council on Aging regarding items on the agenda or on a subject regarding senior services in our city. Speakers are requested to state their name and city of residence for the record. So far, I have 4 speaker cards, and pursuant to city standards, speakers are allowed 3 minutes. The yellow light will flash when you have 1 minute remaining, and the red light will flash when your 3 minutes are up. Our first speaker is Jane Messier.
Is it on? Yeah. Okay. My name is Jane Messier. I'm from Thousand Oaks, and I just wanted to let you know that the SAMP Transportation Committee is back in gear this year. We'll be presenting next week the first of 2 transportation expos at the Global Center, which is located at 1385 Jans Road. It starts at 12:30 promptly. Next Wednesday, that's the 11th, from 12:30 to 2. We're going to throw in some new things this time. We're going to focus on the bus service, Dial-A-Ride, the mileage reimbursement program, which is relatively new, and we're going to have a special presentation by Uber. I'm calling it Uber for Elders. After that, there will be the bus tour that will take you to the ones that have signed up for it, take you to the Transportation Center and the Oaks Mall, which are the 2 other main connection points for the other buses like the 161 and the Vista buses that go to other cities in Ventura County. We're filling up. There are a few seats available, so please call 805-381-2744 to reserve a space, and hope to see you next week. I did bring some flyers. They're over here on the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Our next speaker is Brenda Birdwell.
Good afternoon. It's good to see you all here again every month. My name is Brenda Birdwell, and I'm with Braille Institute. We have services all over Ventura, Santa Barbara, and San Luis Obispo County. We have a support group that meets every Friday at the Global Adult Community Center. That's at 1385 East Jans Road, and we meet every Friday from 10 until noon. So if you have low vision, if you know someone who has low vision, or if you want to volunteer, please let us know. We'd love to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. Our next speaker is Andrea Gallagher.
Hi, I'm Andrea Gallagher from Westlake Village, and I'm here to talk about love. We actually have 2 events coming up that both have something to do with love, or one would hope so. The first one is Tuesday, May 17th at 5:30 p.m. at Senior Concerns, and it's titled Sexual Intimacy Over the Age of 65. Sexuality and Intimacy. And Ken Madden will be our speaker, and during this workshop, we'll uncover the myths and misconceptions about sex and intimacy and learn how experiences that you have had might shape what others think, and understand how medical conditions and medications might affect intimacy. So there are refreshments served, and it is at Senior Concerns, 401 Hodenkamp Road from 5:30 to 7 on Tuesday, May 17th. The next event is our Love Run, and that is a 5K, 10K, 1 mile fun run. We've added a half marathon this year. And for maybe some of you in the audience, we also have a virtual run. So here's the way that works. You sign up for Love Run, you sign up for the virtual run, you get your t-shirt, you get your medal, and you get to send us a picture of what you're doing instead of running that morning. Walking your dog, drinking a cup of coffee. And it benefits a wonderful cause, which are Meals on Wheels in Thousand Oaks and Newbury Park here. And you can Google westlakeloverun.com and learn all about it. We also are in tremendous need for a lot of volunteers. We have over 300 volunteers we need for this event that day, and we've got about half the positions filled. So whether it's stuffing goodie bags or helping with registration or cheering on runners or being there at one of the stations where we're handing out water would be absolutely fantastic. And you can tell us you'd like to volunteer by calling us at Senior Concerns, and our number is 805-497-0189. Thanks very much.
Andrea, is pre-registration required for either of these events?
Well, you can register, certainly for, yes, it would be good to pre-register for the May 17th event. That would help us to make sure that we have refreshments on hand for you. And you can do that by calling 497-0189. And for Love Run, unless you want to get up at about 6:30 in the morning to register that day, you might want to pre-register also. So, and that can be done online or by telephone or by mail, whatever works.
Okay, thank you.
And if you really want to join a team, you can join the team Young and the Rest of Us. We still have room, lots of room actually, although we've done pretty well so far. But please, when you go online, look up Team Young and the Rest of Us and join us. I have teenagers and seniors running all the different events in all different categories. Thanks.
That commercial message from Francine Spriegel.
Yes. I might note, too, that Love Run actually supports 5,000 meals in Thousand Oaks and Newbury Park for low-income seniors that can't afford them. So it really is a tremendous cause. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And our last speaker is Nancy Healey.
Good afternoon. Excuse me. My name is Nancy Healey. I'm a resident of Thousand Oaks, and I want to emphasize what Francine said. Her team has some people like me who will be very, very slow in the Love Run, so do not hesitate to join this team because I'm going to try to be the last one through and not the first one through. I am here today, though, as a board member for Conejo Valley Village. And just to update everybody on where we have been, where we are in our progress, and there's been a lot of it, we have received our 501c or nonprofit status, which means we are now able to raise funds and to accept donations. We will be able to accept them online pretty soon on our own website. And if anybody has questions about it, again, my name is Nancy Healey. My number and name are on all the brochures that we have now to give out. It's 805-231-5147. Please call me. We will be starting our membership drive in October of this coming fall, so it's really coming a lot closer than I ever imagined we would get this far with it. So thanks, everybody, for your support, and I look forward to all of you joining us.
Thank you, Nancy. Now I'd like to turn the meeting over to Commissioner O'Connor for our liaison reports.
I have the privilege of just introducing Rick Tanaka, who's the director of the Conejo Senior Volunteer Program, and he's here to tell us about many exciting events that are coming up. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you for that introduction. I would first of all like to give a big shout out to the volunteers for the tax service that had been taking place through tax season. We had a team of about 35 dedicated volunteers that have completed over 1,700 returns for seniors and low-income residents throughout the tax season. I also want to just point out that this service continues throughout the year for those that need to have amendments or otherwise taken care of. It is by appointment. You can call the CSVP office at 805-381-2742 in order to set up an appointment to meet with a tax preparer. I also would like to make an announcement, surprising to me, that there are still tickets left for the 2016 Theater Fest, which will be taking place on May 14th at the Conejo Players Theater. They will be performing Amadeus at 2 o'clock. At 1 o'clock, before the curtain goes up, there will be a wine reception backstage, and there will be a raffle taking place after the performance. And a portion of the ticket sale proceeds go back to help the Conejo Senior Volunteer Program to continue to offer such services as the tax preparation service and all of the other volunteer efforts that we do throughout the community. Tickets are available at the Global Adult Community Center, which is right next to the Thousand Oaks Library. They are $20, and I encourage you to go pick one up today. They will still be available at the front door of the show if there are any left. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
Patty Ham? Donna? One more?
It's my turn?
Yes.
Very good. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here today. Boy, May is a busy, busy month for us at the Global Center. We have so many great things that we're doing over there. As you know, May is Older Americans Month, and we celebrate that by honoring all the older Americans and for their contributions to our communities and to our nation. We have so many things. It was hard for me to pick, okay, what do I tell you about? But I'm going to, instead of the usual 3, I'm going to do 5. So on May 11th, we have a Transportation Expo, and it's new and improved, and there will be a DMV ombudsman there. You'll learn about Uber for elders, public transit, the benefits of Dial-A-Ride and ADA cards, mileage reimbursement, and travel training plans. Everything and anything you need to know about traveling in the Conejo Valley, you will learn at this workshop, and it is free, and it is on Wednesday, May 11th from 12:30 to 2 p.m. You have to call for reservations, and there is limited space on the bus for you to travel on the bus. So make sure if you want to go, you call the center 381-2744 to reserve a spot. On May 14th, we have the honor of hosting the Miss Senior Ventura County Pageant. It will be Saturday, May 14th at 6 p.m. And I think someone up there among you has is the reigning queen, the reigning Miss Senior Ventura County, Dr. Gorbach. Didn't mean to embarrass you. It's amazing how many talented seniors, ladies that we have in the community. It's a fun event, and if you want to come and check it out and cheer on the seniors, it starts at 6, and tickets are available at the Global Center for $10. You can purchase those at the front desk. On May 15th, the Global Senior Center Commission is having their Music Comes Alive series, and this month it features an Eagles tribute band, and tickets are going fast. So it will be Sunday, May 15th at 2 p.m., and it's $5 per ticket. The doors will open at 1:30. Like I said, the tickets are going really fast. So if you want to go, I'd encourage you to come by the desk and get a ticket. And they will be playing all the Eagles hits, including Tequila Sunrise, Desperado, and, of course, your favorite and mine, Hotel California. All right, so in celebration of Older Americans Month, May 25th is National Senior Health and Fitness Day. I know you knew about that day. So we are celebrating it by offering a free event from 10 to 12 where we are going to encourage seniors to move and have fun. And we're going to have an event where we're going to split up the seniors into teams, and they're going to they're not so much compete. They're just going to play and have fun. Horseshoes, Wii bowling, miniature golf, table tennis, billiards, and then we're going to end the day with Zumba. Everybody loves Zumba. And then afterwards, we're going to treat everyone to a free healthy lunch. So you need to register for that. It's limited to 50 seniors, 10 to 12, Wednesday, May 25th. And that's all I have for you today.
Thank you, Patty. Now I'd like to turn the meeting over to Vice Chair Healey for the Commissioner reports.
First, I'd like to start with one of our really biggest events of the whole year, and one that everybody should try to come to. And for that, I will introduce Commissioner Gitt, Senior of the Year.
Thank you, Nancy. Can we go to the next slide, Francine? So the 6 nominees are in: Ed Craven, Margot King, Sue Linderman, Sadell Lopez, Nancy Elizabeth Keller-Nelson, and Jim Searden. All of our nominees are doing great work, and choosing one Senior of the Year has proved to be quite a challenge, but your committee has made our decision. To paraphrase the late Chick Hearn, the name of the Senior of the Year is in the refrigerator. The door is closed, the lights are out, the eggs are cooling, the butter's getting hard, and the Jell-O's jiggling. And on June 2nd, we'll open the refrigerator door and tell everyone who the Senior of the Year is. Next slide, please. We have a bunch of wonderful sponsors for this event. Dinner sponsors with major contributions are Home Helper Home Care and Council on Aging. Centerpieces are being provided by Home Watch of Conejo Valley. The nominee gift sponsors, that is, each nominee will get gifts from the Reserve at Thousand Oaks and Leisure Living. And beverage and dessert sponsors will come from Assisted Living Connections and the Global Adult Community Center. Next slide, please. We also have a lot of door prizes that will be given away during the event from Arboni, the Conejo Senior Volunteer Program, Buena Vista Hospice, Fancy Nails, Godiva Chocolates, Shelter Hope Pet Shop, Julie B. and John of Italy, Leisure Living, Los Robles Hospital, Mountain View Creations, Skin Spa, Thousand Oaks Library Foundation Store, the YMCA of Thousand Oaks, UCLA Healthcare, and Yoga Works. We go to the last slide, please. Oh, I'm sorry, not the last slide. Tickets are on sale now at the Global Center. The suggested donation is $6. Next slide, please. For that, you're going to get a fabulous chicken dinner by the Conejo Creek Grill. Watch for our ads in the Global Gossetz May issue, in the Acorn tomorrow. Tell your friends. If you have any questions or need information, you can call Senior Services staff at 805-381-7362 or visit tooaks.org/seniors. And we hope to see you all there on June the 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony. This is truly a great event, and you are saying thank you by going to a lot of people who devote many, many hours of volunteering to this community. So our next commissioner report will be Dr. Gorbach, our reigning Ms. Ventura County Senior. And so
just for another week.
Just enjoy it now. She will talk about our educational opportunities.
Thank you very much. So our guest today, our guest speaker, is going to be speaking about technology in our future. So I want to take a look at some of the local technology courses that you folks can access. And last month, I spoke about some of the courses at the Global Center. And this month, I'd like to call your attention to some upcoming courses at the library, which are free. Absolutely free, and this is fabulous. So coming up on May 13th, we have Understanding Spreadsheets, which is an introduction to Excel. And then this is the one that I really need. Coming up on May 19th is a class called Saving Your Stuff in the Cloud. Now, very honestly, I still don't understand the whole cloud thing, so I really need to take this. but apparently that frees up space on your hard drive, and it allows people to access things and work together. And so that is coming up May 19th at the Grant Brimhall Library from 5:30 until 7:15. And then this one is also important. This one is called Healthcare Research, also at the Grant Brimhall Library. And this is an introduction to Medlineplus, an extensive computer portal of health topics. Medlineplus provides information about conditions, treatments, and more. You will learn to check the California Medical Board for your doctor's education, credentials, and good standing. And you're also going to learn on this healthcare research how to take a look at Covered California. So that is at the library, those upcoming classes. And then I took a look at something I haven't talked about yet, but is really a wonderful resource in the community, and that's the Conejo Valley Adult School. And they've recently sent out their summer schedule, and there is a program coming up called Computer Concepts Hands-On for $64. And let's see, this is taught from the beginning so that everyone can catch up. Get the big picture, fill in the gaps in your knowledge. Topics include everything from operating systems to working with storage devices, and includes a brief introduction to Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. The whole course, $64, and you can take it's offered at a variety of times. There's one beginning May 9th, 11th, 16th, then 18th during the day from 1 to 4, or if you prefer to go in the morning, there's another session that goes from 9 to noon, or if you need to go at night, there's a session that runs 6 Monday evenings from 6 to 8. $64. That's a really good price for a computer course. Now, there is an additional fee of $75. That's a textbook and apparently some online assessments. But all in all, I think a pretty good price. And then they have coming up this summer also in the realm of technology, learning how to use Adobe Photoshop and editing using Photoshop elements. So as you're thinking about your summer vacation and all the great pictures you're going to be taking, maybe it's time to learn how to access some of the technology to edit your pictures and make them the best ever. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Karen. Our last but certainly not least commissioner report is by Ron Hagee, who is sitting next to me, and it's about outreach for the Council on Aging. Thank you. Thanks, Ron.
This is our outreach program, and I'm reaching out to everybody. In 1974, the Thousand Oaks City Council made a brilliant decision. They created the Council on Aging. What do we do? Where are we going? Who are we? Invite me out to your group, and I'd be happy to spend a few minutes with you. Commissioner Healey may also accompany me for the beauty part of it. I got to bring, I have to bring somebody that's easy on the eyes because they don't want to look at me. So I'll be glad to share with you some of the things that are going on with Council on Aging and what we do, and also hopefully get some feedback for you folks. All you have to do is call that number, the same one, 805-381-7362. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron, for the information and making my day also. So back to Chair Fotheringham.
All right. Now is the time in our program for commissioner comments. Are there any commissioners that would like to make a comment today? Yes.
Hi, I just wanted to remind everybody that Friday is National Nurses Day. So if you have a favorite nurse somewhere in your senior activities, thank them for all the help that they do. And I also want to give a plug for Medlineplus. I've used it for years as a nurse, and it's very helpful. So do sign up for that class at the library, and also for the tech classes at the Conejo Adult Center. They're well worth the money. I just took a refresher course because I was self-taught in Excel, and I'm doing some activities that require me to use things that I have never done before, and they're very good instructors. So really think about attending the classes. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? I have a couple, one of which is I'd like to wave to my new friend Connie at University Village, who promised to watch us today. So we've got at least one person out in the audience. And the second thing, I'd like to to try to help Commissioner Gorbach and anyone else relate to this cloud notion. I don't know who invented that term and so forth, but it's created an awful lot of confusion. It essentially means copying your files to somebody else's computer. And when I first moved out to Thousand Oaks 30 years ago, and I was working for a company that had a corporate computer system, and they had 2 hard drives for their company computer. Each one of them had a capacity of 256 megabytes, which we could all get on a little thumb drive or even a little SD card today. And these hard drives were about 5 feet tall and about 6 feet in diameter, and they had to be stored in an air-conditioned room with a lot of backup to the air conditioning. So times have changed, and memory's gotten a lot cheaper, and a lot of companies have found that they can economically buy a tremendous amount of storage capacity, and they're offering this as a service. Obviously, they hope to get business from us in some other way, and it's sort of tied to something else that they're offering or you've already purchased and so forth to give you permission to store a limited amount of material and so forth on their machines. It has a couple of advantages, one of which is that the material is backed up off-site. That is, it's out of your house, so if your house burns down, you don't lose everything. You've got some place that's outside of your house where things are backed up, and we're generally advised to do that. There may be some concerns about, well, if I'm turning my stuff over to somebody else and I don't really know who they are and who has access to my material and so forth, so anything sensitive and so forth, you may want to make sure it's encrypted by you before you store it on the cloud. But there isn't really any particular mystery to that. It's just a computer located somewhere else in the world, and you'll probably never find out where that is, but it's probably safe to trust it under limited circumstances. Okay, any other comments that anybody's occurred to anybody? Well, if not, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Commissioner Gorbach to introduce our speaker for today.
Thank you very much, Chair Fotheringham. I'm very happy today to introduce Natalie Gossetz, the chair of the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers Buena Ventura section. Ms. Gossetz has been on the cutting edge of technologies her entire career. She is a sought-out speaker on matters pertaining to emerging technologies and their impact on our lives. She's been recently studying science discoveries about aging and the brain and has been relating this to technology and how technology can enable all of us to age gracefully. I first heard Natalie speak several years ago at a conference, an educational conference, and she talked about technology and the future of career and technical education. And I was blown away. I mean, it just really made me think of so many things. So, and then just a couple months ago, she did a webinar on how we can remain how we can remain important in our fields and continue to adapt to what the needs are in the workplace. So I'm really, really appreciative of your being here today and talking to us about technology and how we can use it as we age. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Dr. Gorbach. I still remember meeting you, and you inspired me too. And I want to thank everyone for having me today because I'm talking about a topic that really inspired me. My life mission is to look at what is on the horizon in terms of new ideas and to evaluate their impact on our life. And I looked a lot at technology because I have a technical background. What I've discovered is with 10,000 people each day turning 65, there is a mass of incredible individuals with wisdom, a lot of knowledge, a lot of detachment to situations with strong analytical and strategic skills. And this group of individuals in the United States is creating a paradigm shift today. With technology being added to it, it's really accelerating how we are changing our life today being 65 years or older. I usually don't use the word senior because that term should be moved, into the high 90s and 100 today, because we are younger, we are more vibrant, and I'm going to show some data that really shows us our longevity and how technology is going to help us age very gracefully. So we can keep our body younger, for sure, and we can keep our brain younger. And our brain and convince our brain or help our brain live longer. And that's important for us today, because I hear everyone saying, I don't mind my body to live until I'm 100, but I've got to have the brain with it. Because, if I have dementia, I don't want to be around that long. So the internet is one of the greatest shifts, and thank you so much for mentioning the cloud, because with the internet comes the cloud, but there are other things happening. Internet of Things is what is going to make your home very smart. What Internet of Things is about, it tends to be sensors in your home that are connected to something that has some form of intelligence and looks at patterns. So a classical case would be detecting someone breaking into your house. That's a traditional model. But today, there are devices that detect how often you open the fridge, whether you got out of bed, whether there was a brusque movement, like you fell down. In Japan, they are monitoring bathroom activities also with sensors. I don't think we need this here. And everything is connected together through devices that just sits in your house. So, for instance, on my home, I have a device that is voice activated, where I can ask for music that I have in my music library. And that device loves my husband a lot more than me, because it will respond to anything he asks. Sometimes when I ask, it says it's not in the library, whatever I'm asking, or it plays something else. So devices are becoming part of our social environment. Think about the Roomba vacuum cleaner. That this is this little robot that will go and vacuum your carpet. And in the repair department of the company, they used to have a high level of complaints that the repaired device was different from the one that had been sent, that the personality had changed. And it's because we get used to our devices, we get used to the way they operate, even if they are a little bit off in their operations, and they become part of our environment. They become our regular friend in the room that is helping us. And our society is moving this way. I'll talk a little bit more about the smart home, but I want to set some ground level information. If you look at statistics and epidemiology, a woman on average will live until the age of 81 and a man age 76. But in truth, it's counting infant mortality in the number. And the reality of today is that if you make it past 55, you are on a road to get to the high 90s and 100. So our population is going to have a lot of people who are 100 years old or older. If the person had a high income, it adds another 5 years. If they had a higher education, 50 years or more, it adds another 5 years. And if you live in California, like here, it adds another 3 years. So it's always very positive to have a longer life. In the group of the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers in Ventura County, we have 889 789 members, and 20% of them are 65 years or older. And I have been absolutely fascinated by the quality of the mind of these individuals way into their 80s. They're still very active. We still have them do talks. They really work that brain muscle, if you want, to really keep themselves very relevant and engaged in life. Something that is a myth that people say, okay, let's continue to exercise, be physically active in the older years, but resistance training is the key. It's not endurance training. Endurance training is hurting your joints, it's hurting your body. It may add some muscles, but it's like you are overusing your body. Resistance training, which means lifting weight and other forms, push-ups, if you're interested, is the key to maintaining your body in good health. In terms of brain longevity, what is our asset is that our brain is very plastic, even in our 60s, 70s, and 80s. And brain plasticity enables us to recreate routes that sometimes may be toned down because of either illness or because we haven't used that part of the brain for a while and it deteriorates. You can rebuild a path. I want to share with you some recent imaging information. So what we are able to do today is that we're able to measure the water molecules along. Can you click on the brain? Click on the brain to see the visual. So we are able to measure the water molecules that go along the nerve fibers, and this enables us to map the brain and to see which areas are working very well. All right, let me show you the next one. So imagine this in 3D as you're traveling through the brain. You can see the areas that turn on under certain actions, or you can see areas that just don't do anything. If you look at on the brain on the of the age 73 individuals, there are some globs, some blue globs there. Doesn't mean that the fibers have melted. It just means that that area, the envelope of this area, is not functioning. There is nothing really happening there. You can bypass this area by creating some new connections using brain plasticity. So what does brain plasticity mean? So there is this amazing study that came out in 2015. It has a historical context also that starts a little bit with sadness for me. In Scotland in 1932, they ran a test on all their 11-year-old students. They thought that their country was becoming less intelligent because of the inbreeding between families. And therefore, they had decided to make a measurement. And they redid this measurement in 1945. The hidden intent there was to segregate students with high IQ and students with lower IQ so that education would go only to the students with high IQ. This study was abandoned, after the Second World War, and mostly because of what was happening in Germany and, claiming a higher society or higher group of individuals was absolutely not acceptable. What they discovered in this study, let me add one more element. In 1993, someone opened a closet at the University of Sussex and found all this data on 70,000 students, wondering what on earth that was. And they went and tried to find all 70,000 people. So there were still 1,641 alive, and they gave them the same test because they wanted to understand how whether the intelligence had evolved or what elements in their life had affected their cognitive abilities in their, so at that time they were in their 70s and 90s. What they discovered is that they all kind of follow the normal degradation of cognition over time, but there was a group of individuals that had been able to shift the curve by getting involved between the age 55 to 70 in certain activities and certain lifestyles. So that's what I want to share with you, because this is the element that we could integrate today to really push that curve out there. So first, individuals who scored high in IQ in 1932 or 1945 seemed to have a higher IQ at the time they got tested in the late 1990s. So it's very natural for me. It means, you start the ramp at a higher place, and when, the range of shooting is longer. But it contributed to 60%. So high IQ, physical fitness is 17%, higher social class, which implies lower stress in your life, maybe 10%, and engage in those very special activities that are intense focus. So we usually say do crossword puzzles. Okay, they work only if they are hard to do, because you have to have that brain really working hard. So it needs to feel like your head is hurting. So learning a foreign language, engaging in Adobe classes. My mother is 80 years old. Has just become a whiz at Adobe Illustrator. I mean, she's better than me. I'm blown away. I'm jealous too. But I thought this is perfect. This is an exercise of really trying something brand new that makes you feel a little bit, like you have to swim in the water without knowing how to swim. Bilingual individuals seem to have a longer longevity. The factors that were indicators of reduced brain longevity were people who had been on medication to numb the brain. So it might be people who have pain and are taking medication. It could be people on depression who are depressed. It could be people who are stressed. Also, vitamin B12 deficiency was a strong contributor, and deficiency in vitamin D. Another factor that was amazing is that people who were multitaskers, with and multitasking, their IQ dropped by 15 points. So multitasking is not good for the brain. It's better to just do things serially than trying to juggle several things. They said it was as if you live your life with always one night of sleep, having missed one night of sleep every day. So things that we thought would have an impact in the study but did not have an impact is what you ate. Now, it may have an impact on your heart, but not on your brain, okay? Your body mass index had no impact on your brain longevity. Whether you took coffee or not, no impact. And whether you drank wine, as long as it was within moderation, but a glass of wine every day had no impact on your brain longevity. What is happening today to try to help individuals push that barrier of having their brain live longer are studies about taking omega-3 every day and vitamin D's. We're waiting for the results. Using detox, removing metals in our system. Some of the therapies that are being tested in clinical trials for multiple sclerosis have a high probability of being good solutions for extending brain longevity. Stem cells also are right there. And then there is a whole series of protein-based food that are helping with your brain living longer. So, in conclusion for this part is, okay, how long can we keep our brain healthy with good maintenance between the age 85 to 95? If you have good genes, you could go as high as 115. If you have poor habits and some of those deficiencies I mentioned, you could start having a decline, a faster decline as early as age 60. So, aging grace with technology, it's very important that we make sure we personally have access to a computer, a laptop, a smartphone, or we give it to our parents. Right now, the adoption of mobile technology using wireless connectivity is slowly growing in the young boomers and the older boomers, but there's still a generation that is a little bit resistant to the technology. What's going to happen is that those smartphones are becoming easier and easier to use. They are now talking to you, so it's going to require less effort to figure out how these things is working, and like the iPad is becoming more popular, in fact, than the smartphone, because there is this button you can push, and it brings everything back to the state that you are comfortable with. So whereas the phone sometimes can act up a little bit weird, and you may have to ask someone to help you bring it back to a normal state. So by 2020, we're going to have probably close to half of the 65 older who are familiar with a smartphone and are using it in some form, and the phone is already talking to you. So the good thing is that there is, in fact, probably 30 to 40 products on the market today that are using this wireless connectivity. In fact, Bluetooth connection, which is another way of having a device in your home talking to another device somewhere remotely. And that enables someone to monitor what is happening in a home or check where you are physically using GPS systems. So, for instance, I don't want to name any technologies because I'm not here to endorse anyone, but this daughter here can see that her mother has been sleeping a little bit more than normal, and that she has been coughing, multiple times. You can, if you have, I would say, a paranoid daughter, she can really monitor a lot of things in your home if you enables this to happen. What technology is doing is that it empowers the senior to decide how much is being revealed to an outside world, and that set of parameters that are revealed can progress over life. It could just be that, between age 60 and 70, it just reports if there is a fall, if you fall down. And then as you feel like your mobility is being restrained, then you can add some parameters. Personally, I really believe that the model right now is focused on the senior citizen who is limited or may have some issues. I see this technology as being just helping yourself as a senior citizen, being very engaged with what is happening around you, as opposed to being the person being monitored. But there is a whole generation of younger adults who can't get involved with their parents as much as possible, but are feeling guilty and want to have a way to be able to monitor without intruding. Those systems are connected to medical centers, and the way the model works today is that there is a monthly subscription to be able to have access to the services, and then people have to buy the watch, the phone, the hardware that goes with it, not covered by insurances at this time, so it can be quite expensive. And my recommendation right now is just let's get everyone on a smartphone, because because the apps are coming. Some of them are, free of charge, and we can already do a lot with a smartphone, waiting for all those platforms to be competitive with each other and get the price down. So Internet of Things is this set of sensors that you have in your home. So you may have one in your mattress, you may have one in the bathroom, the kitchen. In the kitchen is the door of the fridge opening or closing, the television turning on or off, whether the light were turned on by someone or not. So it's measuring the level of activities, and smart devices can take any forms. There are watches today that can remind of pills to be taken. For me, I just appreciate when my phone tells me that I'm about, I have an appointment. It's the kind of same thing. It should be inclusive of all the positive, and the burdens of our life, as opposed to just focusing on the actions we have to do that we would preferably not want to do. So I'm about to shift. I'm moving you about 5 years ahead from now. There is some very interesting work going on with brainwave sensing, and it entered the games industry. So your grandkids are very involved in this. If you look at the little ears, they're the kids, if you go to anime conventions, so those are Japanese comic book conventions, those ears will sense energy from the brain and will move the ears to reflect an emotion from the kid. There are softwares today. You can buy a helmet for $200 some that enables you to have the energy you emit from your brain to go into the helmet and drive something on the screen. So you can move an object just through the intention that is being picked up by the sensors inside the helmet. The first company who got involved in this also added some cameras so they can see your facial expressions, and for the strong gamers, they can do different, movement of muscles on the face to indicate, I want to move this, I want to attack this, I want to be gentle with this. So facial muscle recognition, in addition to brain energy, enables people to really play a game without any intervention of the hands. On the medical side, it's used to allow a wheelchair to move when someone is not capable of pushing the wheelchair by themselves. There is some work going on with paraplegic, where you can control a robotic arm to bring a device or bottle for the person to be able to drink. It's still at the research phase, but there's some rudimentary aspect of this that are entering the commercial space. In Japan is the oldest population in the world. They have a big issue, a lot more elderly arriving, and not enough support to take care of them. So they have been really big on robots. They were already big on robotics in the past, but they have been targeting applications to help the elderly in their daily activities. So here we have someone going and shopping, a robot shopping with someone cleaning the house, or helping you getting out of a chair, or bringing an object in the house. There are also robots that have been starting to be programmed to pick you up if you fall on the floor, to be able to bring you back to a position that is more normal, or to help you get out of the bed if you are not able to do that. There is also a whole movement of social robots, like this little seal there. And this one is to help people during traumatic moments. They really launch a whole series of those. It's like a toy, if you want, but it's a very smart toy that is comforting when there's a tsunami or when there is a loss, there is grief. and those are starting to enter the United States. You'll find some of those little robots in schools. They come with basic software. They talk with the basics hello, and they can walk around, but they are programmable. So the schools are starting to buy one or two of these because the kids can program them to do activities. And because there is some of the schools, there's a strong tie with a philanthropic purpose to their robotic chapters or initiatives, I can see some applications being targeted at senior citizens to help them with activities. Exoskeleton robots also are here. The bionics legs here are being offered today to people who can no longer walk, and essentially it's you can control them from the handles. It's still very expensive to do, and there is a whole foundation that raises money for each one of those devices, and so it's slow integration, but the technology developing here is also being deployed in other applications. We're going to augmented touch. If you feel like you can't feel things anymore, there's a beginning of glove technology with integrated sensors to really give you a lot more sensitivity that you may today. It's being used in the medical side for trying to pulp tumors that may not be palpable just with their hands. So this is new, and this is kind of funny. It's augmented taste. It fools your sense of smell to make you believe you are eating something else than what you are really eating, and the target is the diet industry, so that you can eat cookies with no calorie and still think you were eating a chocolate chip cookie. So augmented autonomy is a self-driven car. Has been in the press. You're very aware of it, but it's going to be something helpful for the senior citizens, because there's nothing like losing your driving license, and this will restore mobility to individuals. It will also keep senior citizens engaged in contributing to the environment. Google Glass is here. It's having a little bit difficulty launching because it provides so much information on another screen right next to your eye. I've worn one of these, and it's a little bit overwhelming because I'm already receiving too much information, and then I have another input there, just a few inches from my eye. I'm not sure this will be helpful to the older population, but let's see what they do with it. 3D printing is going to change the senior citizens' life, because printers are becoming affordable now, and that enables you to print something at home that you may need either to fix something, or will enable you to be creative. So in 2015 at the 3D printing conference, they started demonstrating you could 3D print sugar to create amazing constructions. So 3D printing is just a deposition layer by layer of a material in a certain way. So for the population who loves to be creative on the cooking side or on the design side, 3D printing is coming in. In fact, in some of the senior homes, they are starting to 3D print food, because chewing can become challenging after a certain age. So they 3D print the food the way it normally looks, but in fact, the food has been all broken down in just swallowable parts. I'm just mentioning to you, 3D printing is in the in the fashion business with clothing that is not wearable. So I don't think senior citizens will ever want to get involved in this. But I wanted to mention that 3D printing of instruments, and there are some unregulated markets, 3D printing from an ultrasound image, and they are selling this online, at every phase of it, and you get a blue box or a pink box depending on the gender of the baby. Your dentist is already 3D printing now material for the jaw and for replacement teeth. Leg prostheses are being customized exactly to the shape of your leg, using a laser to size, a leg or an arm, and then 3D printing the prosthesis. There are some tools that these are being done by people at home. They said, I need one of those things because my finger can't do that, or opening bottles can be challenging. And so creativity is just out there, and you can go and do what you need to do and have it 3D printed. So for me, because I'm involved on the medical side, 3D printing of human skin and organs is something that is going to help us. It's not now. It's maybe 10, 15 years out because it needs to get FDA clearance. But organs that do not have much blood, like an ear, can be 3D printed, and positioned as a prosthesis. So technology is definitely here for us, and it's a perfect time to really help the wiser and older population really continue to be engaged. I so believe that at age 65, we have another 30 to 40 years of amazing contribution to society, and being able to use the internet and the technology, while there is a system that keeps us safe in our environment because we may not be as stable, but keeps us engaged, whether we go out or not. That is the paradigm shift we're experiencing right now. And it is going to extend our longevity beyond the data we have today. So, thank you very much.
We'll now take questions from the commissioners. People in the audience who would like to talk with our speaker and so forth are encouraged to do so after the meeting is ended and so forth, but this session is limited to those of us on the dais. You want to lead?
Wow, thank you. My God, my brain is swelling right now. How can lay persons like ourselves best keep up with the technology so that as we age and we feel that I really could use this or that? I mean, how do we keep up with that? What's your recommendation?
Well, I think the technology is coming to you because the companies who are providing the products or services are targeting, the population, the older population. When you look at market data, the biggest opportunity is the baby boomers. And this is, if there's an application for people who are 65 or older, they will really engage in developing this application. The only point of resistance right now is whether the group they want to engage is welcoming technology. So they will first go, 55 to 65 because they know these people are engaged, or they will go after the children and sell the children on having technologies for their parents. Let's think about what kind of gifts we got from our sons and daughters. It's usually in the spirit. They want to be helpful. They want us to be safe. They want us to be engaged. So there are two angles for the companies. The kids and the younger group if you want, of the older population.
First, I want to thank you. That was absolutely one of the best talks I've ever heard. As a matter of fact, I was fascinated the whole time, and I want to thank Karen not only for bringing you today, but for all the great programs she has put on this year. So thank you. You know, I've been involved in the senior community since I retired, and one of the things that we've learned is so many seniors today would prefer to stay in their homes as long as they possibly can, rather than going to any kind of a community setting. So the kind of stuff that you brought is so positive for that people can anticipate, particularly in the future, that there will be more and more things that can allow them to live home safely and have people be aware if something happens to them. So
yeah,
that
agree.
Was totally fascinating, and thank you very much for your time with us.
Thank you. It is true. People don't want to leave their home. In fact, the older you get, the less you want to go to another center, because you're used to your routine, you're used to your environment, to your friends, etc. And I think it's all right today to say, no, I want to stay in my home. Let's talk about what we can bring to the home to make it possible. And we leave our children from the burden of taking care of us. Because even if they don't want to be on the other side of this Internet of Things, monitoring our movements, there are services today that will monitor, what we're doing. So it's a matter of releasing the guilt, I would say, releasing the guilt from our family that we need to be watched, and inviting to think creatively about what is available today to make it happen.
It's really inspiring. Thank you.
Your combination of sort of dealing with brain fitness and dealing with technology reminded me of one of the criticisms I heard recently of some of the technology that we find in our use of the internet in terms of the search engines provided by Google and Facebook and others, which attempt to learn from your previous searches the kinds of things you're interested in, so it prioritizes the results of future searches based upon those past interests. And the criticism was that this sort of leads to sort of a dumbing down of people who use the internet in this way. For example, if we did a search for popular songs, and in the past we've mainly looked for songs in the disco songs and so forth, that the search engine would then put the disco songs at the top of the search results and so forth, other things much farther down, and we ultimately get to the impression, well, all the popular songs are disco songs. What a coincidence. But it keeps us from sort of encountering new things, and so that I think that's a current concern about where some of this technology is going.
Well, it's because it's set up this way by default. You can turn it off. You can turn that option off of the system learning from your habits. But of course, then you have to figure out where you turn it off. My vision is that shortly we'll have this big button that says yes or no, okay? Because the advocacy group are going to say, hey, we should not be victimized by, companies making decisions for us as to what we watch. But for now, it is true that the same things keep recurring. But it does not prevent you from doing another Google search into a totally different space, and it will keep feeding new information in that space. So it's very responsive to what you look at. Even Amazon.com, will learn your preferences and will keep feeding to you similar books, similar products, and to me, it's kind of convenient because I don't have to search how do they call that thing, that, what is the key word. And sometimes I'm very interested about what else they have to propose, because I like things that are on the edge. Some things I like to learn about what else is available. So they not only feed me, some new products, but there is an attitude, whether we are young or older, which is that we own our life. we own what we look at on the internet. We are in control. Despite what they feed to us, we are in control of the information we need. So my life philosophy is that I'm smarter than this internet thing. You know, I'll step in, and as older citizens, we're wise. We know better. You know, we know what doesn't smell good. We know what really looks realistic. So we can step in. We can step in and say, okay, let me search on that, and that develops a new branch in your Google connections, if you want.
Any other questions? Yes, Tony.
So, do you have any concerns or opinions on the postulated technological singularity where the computers get so smart that they take over from us?
No, I have no concerns because I've been monitoring artificial intelligence, and I can tell you it's such a complex problem to solve. The fastest path, I can tell you, the fastest path to having a computer being as smart as you would be to connect your own brain to the computer. Because teaching a computer to think like a human or to make decisions like a human is so far out. There are still decisions that a computer would not be able to make. So it can provide answers, you know, in like the IBM Watson. It can provide answers to questions, but our daily living is so much more complex than that. And artificial intelligence, I mean, it's not even 20 years out in terms of full capabilities. It's out there, way beyond, you know, our longevity. So I have no worries about that.
Okay. Well, thank you again for
Thank you.
very
Thank you for having me.
speech. All right. I would now like to adjourn our meeting. As soon as the cameras leave us. We are adjourned.
Mm-hmm.